Well, if you got a dollar, well, just lousy down. You know that I got rhythm that could suit your budget fine.
Hey, this is Patrick with Trusty Huckster Mercantile. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be doing a quick video. I guess you could kind of call it a haul video, but it's really... I'm pretty sure this is going to be a teaser to an upcoming, at least a DuoDive, if not a Triptych, because I have found my latest obsession, and I have been shopping on eBay, and I waited to post this video so that a couple of the auctions I was bidding on have closed. And so I got the ones I wanted because I'm starting my collection strong. And what am I starting my collection with, you may ask? Well, you probably saw the promotional thumbnail, so you probably know, but they are tobacco tags. Now, these little tags, and I will show several of these, and I'll maybe drop some photographs in so I can get a little bit closer than what the camera will allow. But there is a fascinating history behind these. And I stumbled across it actually by doing some research with Katie from Vintage and Vinyl, looking to do some DuoDives or planning some of the triptychs that she and I do with Nate from Soul Nate. And I came across the concept of these tobacco tags, which I had never heard about. And they're just these little like works of art. They're just these little metal tins. They have spikes, for lack of a better word, on them. And what they were used for is an absolutely huckster thing. They, tobacco manufacturers, if you kind of think about it from a sales perspective in the late 19th century when tobacco, I mean, it continued to be popular, but as branded tobacco became a thing, you have, tobacco pretty much looks the same. So when tobacco got shipped to a tobacconist, to a general store, to a chemist, one of the places that would sell tobacco, you ran the risk that a unscrupulous seller would receive possibly a high branded brand of tobacco, maybe advertise that that's the brand that they have, but they might pepper in some other lower quality tobacco and some fillers so that they could stretch the expensive tobacco out, but maybe charge the higher price. So they were, in fact, hucksters. So the idea was the companies that manufactured the tobacco and were spending all the money to brand their tobacco brands, they started creating these little metal tags. So this one says Red Cross. They created these little metal tags that they're flat now, but they would have been bent down, and they were literally hammered into the tobacco. So tobacco was sold in different types. There was something called a plug, which was basically, if you squished it all together and kind of looked at it from a distance, it kind of looked like a brownie. So it was like really compacted. They could either mold that in the shape of their brand, or they would hammer these into the edges or around the perimeter so that the tobacconist could cut the plug. And sometimes you've seen tobacco tins that say cut plug. It's taking the larger plug and cutting it down to size. They would cut around these tags. And so the tags became very functional, and it became a protection for the companies that were the manufacturers to say, if we sell you, or we're selling our brand in this tobacconist, watch for the tag and you will be getting what you're paying for. And so it's a little bit of brand recognition, and some of them are just little tiny works of art. You know, this one is Patterson, no, Patterson, or no, R.A. Patterson, that's what it is. R.A. Patterson tobacco is grape tobacco. So there's little grape leaves on it. This one has a little songbird. It was called Yellow Hammer. And so you've got this little bird on there. There's also birds. This is the Three Black Crows. So some of them were just single ink. So it was, you know, well, they probably would have had to print the yellow too. As you had the yellow with the black. Some of them, you know, we've got, let's see, black, yellow, and red. You've got ripe peaches. The irony of this is I've never smoked, so I'm fascinated by these, and I've never even, you know, touched a piece of tobacco. But I had found these, and I originally had sent it to Katie saying, oh, you know, she's got her tobacco tins, that these seem to be like a little add-on. And I said that you should consider doing these as a triptych or maybe doing a DuoDive. And she bounced right back, and she's like, those are like the most huckster thing I've ever seen. You should totally do one for Trusty Huckster Mercantile. And while she was sending me that text, I had already buried myself in eBay and started buying them. Because what is beautiful about these is they're very small, so displaying them is turning into a little bit of an issue. But they're also very inexpensive. So this represents 2 purchases, I believe, that have shipped to me already. And I think I have a total of 22 of them. One of them is a repeat. So Katie will be getting one of my duplicates, which I've now lost. I now have 2 of the Ibex, so she'll be getting one of those because she's now starting a collection too, and we're putting some peer pressure on Nate. We want him to start one too because it would be the only thing that the entire Triptych all collects. But they can. I will clarify. I bought 22 pieces, and on average, I paid under $2 each, and that included shipping. So in general, they can be done less expensively. Some of them are very, very simple, which help the average. You know, these are only about $1. You know, there's no color on these at all, and they were never designed to. But you've got the little star. But I'm going to drop in some images of some of the research that I was doing, and it just happens this is one of the tags that I found in doing the research. So that's actually kind of fun too. But the simpler ones, they're obviously a little bit less expensive. And some of the very ornate ones, they were selling for $20 or $30. And a couple of them were over $100. Now that might be getting into just super, super rare. Just the tobacco brand might be rare, so like everything that went with it is also more valuable. So Katie's been trying to educate me a little bit because she's now has a tobacco tin collection. She's trying to find, you know, the individual tags that match her tobacco tin, and one of them that she was absolutely jonesing for and has since bought of her own is this pen's. It looks like a pen nib. Which is actually a tobacco, and she has the Penn's tobacco tin. So now she wanted the Penn's tobacco tag. I bought one. She got jealous, so she bought one too. So she's getting one of her own. So there was just some really cute, some of them, they're cute. Some of them are just functional. Like this one's a little bit longer. But this one has the full name of the company. So again, they were serving their purpose because they're basically advertising. And then the idea behind these, which I still have to do a little bit of researching for, but there's also these catalogs that are available. And what it appears is either this would have held a coupon or maybe held something in place, or you got a coupon and you could submit those coupons kind of like the S&H green stamps. You could turn those coupons in and actually trade them in for a shotgun or a watch or a pipe. So what I haven't figured out is exactly what you're trading in, because I don't know if you're trading in these or if you're trading in something that came with these, because there's a couple that they keep referring to them as coupons. And I don't know if this would be considered a coupon. I know much later, Raleigh, I think it was Raleigh Tobacco, they actually had physical paper coupons, and that it worked the same way. But these date back, they started in the 1870s. So I am all over these. So I've got to figure out the best way to display them. But some really cool pieces. And right now, ironically enough, I'm actually, and this is what the thumbnail showed, I'm actually showing them on a piece of my all over gold porcelain. This particular one is Stouffer's Studio, but it's a perfectly flat surface, so you can actually see them. I've tried junk jars, but because they are all flat, they end up just kind of like flat folding onto each other, and they just stack like a deck of cards. You can't see anything. So I'm trying to figure out the best way. We're going to play around. They're magnetic, so we're going to play around with magnets, just figure out different ways. But this is my newest obsession. Absolutely a blast. Some of the artwork is so much fun to look at. And just the history behind these, they pretty much disappeared from what I can tell. They pretty much disappeared around 1920s to 1930s. I just ordered a book because gotta love my research books. I just ordered a book that I think says it goes up to 1930. So I don't know if it's 30 or 30s. So I'm going to do a little bit of digging on that, but the book hasn't come yet. So maybe as I piece together all the pieces of information and what I'm finding on the internet, I will definitely do probably a triptych, because I'm going to want to scour the internet for all these different examples. Because again, some of them are very valuable, and I need to figure out why. And I also, to be perfectly honest, want to figure out a little bit more I'm going to drop some images here in the video that I found online that shows a little bit of how they were used. So like the plugs made sense. You'd then have a plug cutter at the tobacconist, and it was basically like almost like a paper cutter that would chop that brownie shape into smaller pieces. But there was also something called rope tobacco, and I found a story on that one that at one time they were trying to put the tin tags underneath the outer layer of tobacco wrap so they didn't fall out. But one of the common practices at the time is you would buy your rope, and it looked like a really long sausage, and you would chew it. You would like bite it off, and people were chipping their teeth on the tags because you couldn't see them. So that practice was very short-lived. So I just want to do a little bit more research, and maybe once I get all of that information, it'll come together and hopefully be an interesting triptych. Now, I've yet to find these in the wild. I have gone shopping since I've discovered them. I've gone to true antique shops looking for them and have yet to find them. They are very plentiful on eBay, and again, that's where I got all of mine relatively inexpensively. Or at least the ones that I found so far. And then as I go maybe getting into quality versus quantity, maybe I'll get into the more expensive ones. But it's very fun to build a very attractive collection at basically $2 a pop. So a little bit of money can go a long way and make some really cool, true antique additions to your collection. So that's what I wanted to showcase. So this is my latest obsession, tobacco tags. Hopefully, probably you will end up seeing more on this maybe in the upcoming months. So watch my channel for notifications on Tales from the Triptych, because that's probably what this will turn into, just because we're going to want to scour the internet and find all those different examples. And I'm actually on the hunt for a tobacco plug cutter, which looks super cool. So maybe I'll have one of those by then too. So until then, thank you so much for your time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Well, show me a sign if you're wishing me to stay. Otherwise, I say goodbye and finish out the day. And that sunrise in the morning and you got nothing to say. Oh, that's when I'll be headed on my way.